Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Aisha Mahmood and I am the ETP STP coordinator at Association of Muslim Professionals, abbreviated as AMP. Okay, now I will briefly introduce AMP. AMP is a non-profit organization with an on-ground presence in more than 140 active chapters spread across 26 states in 20 countries with almost 6,000 active members. AMP mainly works in three domains: education, employment, and empowerment. AMP has many achievements to its credit under its main flagship projects and keeps adding new ones as the need arises. First one here comes School Development Program or SDP, which has sessions for all stakeholders in the education field. Next is EAC or Employment Assistance Cell that was launched in 2014, which conducts job fairs and job drives, and it also conducts employability training programs, ETPs, in colleges. Skill training company ties up candidate mobilization and skill development courses are also undertaken by EAC. So far, AMP has conducted more than 40 job fairs and around 250 job drives, bringing job seekers and corporates together and facilitating the placement of more than 15,000 needy candidates. It regularly runs career guidance seminars at more than 50 different locations in India, benefiting more than 10,000 students every month. AMP has supported more than 500 needy and deserving students by funding their higher education. It has helped more than 500 orphans with basic education as well. AMP has supported more than 200 poor and unemployed with its self employment schemes in the past 5 years. AMP is in partnership with around 50 government and non government organizations. It has acknowledged diligence and dedication by presenting over 100 Education Excellence Awards to deserving educationists. Now, some new digital initiatives by AMP are: first one is empowerjobs.com, which is an online portal started in October 2020, which endeavors to connect the right talent to the right opportunity. Second one is indiazakat.com. It is India's first online zakat crowdfunding platform and was launched in April 2020 to liberate Indian Muslims from poverty and to set the individual on the path of self sustenance. Third one, the indiamentors.com is an online mentorship platform that is free and open to all. Lastly, I would like to emphasize that more than anything else, it is the rope of Islam that the members of AMP hold on to while treading the strenuous path of empowerment of the Indian Muslim community in particular and the society as a whole in general. That has been responsible for the phenomenal growth that AMP has achieved in just over a decade. Now, without delay, I would like to introduce our speaker for today's webinar, Ms. Nagma Parveen, who has started her training journey in the year 2009. She is a trainer by passion. Before starting her journey as a full-time corporate trainer, she have worked upon various freelancing projects, mostly with colleges and corporates. So, over to you, Nagma ma'am.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل Ugdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we are going to talk about communication. Uh, Communication is important, and moreover, effective communication is very important. So just let me know whether my screen is visible to all of you. So before understanding effective communication, we need to understand why communication and why do we learn to communicate. So because communication is something which we have been practicing, or you say you start your life on this earth and you start communicating, but why do we need to learn it? So actually, we communicate through various ways. So there are two things which we are going to discuss during this session, because actually communication is it's a topic which can be explained, or you say if I start conducting session upon communication, it will at least take a week. So I have to conduct this session. I have to conduct. Actually, I just in 45 minutes I have to say what I have to say, and you are going to take gather information from here. So I have chosen two things: why communication and what is communication. So there are two things: what is communication and how can we make it effective. So I'm going to show you a video. I watched this video, I think a couple of months ago. So uh, there are two things. Actually, I'm conducting a session on communication, and I can't communicate with you because it's not a classroom session, it's an online session. But the good part is, even during this pandemic, I can still communicate with you. So there are pros and cons of everything. And I really would have loved to attend this training as a classroom session. But anyways, the things are working in this way right now. So I just showed you this video, and what is the message there? What is the purpose of showing this video to you? So the purpose behind this is that we can communicate in different ways. Whether you just saw people are whistling and they are communicating with each other. So communication does not always require language. Language is not a barrier for communication. It does not even require what do you say, words. It does not even require a tone. Sometimes just through whistling you can communicate, and this is actually a beautiful side of communication. So this video is from Turkey. It's a small village in Turkey where people communicate through whistling. And I find this video very extremely beautiful. Why? Because this is the beauty of uh, this is the beauty of nature. Matlab, it's not only us, it's not only human beings who are communicating. Birds are also communicating. Everything on this earth, they are communicating. This is the beauty of the nature. So, so what exactly this communication is? So most of the time, what I see, people love talking or they don't like talking. So there are two things. You will find a group of people, they love talking, especially when I talk about normal corporate scenarios or wherever. It is not only in professional life, even in normal life, people love talking. They don't listen. And there are people, they don't like talking, they don't enjoy talking, they are so there are people, they don't like talking, they don't talk a lot. But what exactly communication is? Communication is actually a two-way process. Communication is not the message sent, but the message received and understood. So what is message sending and receiving process? Whenever you say something or you communicate through your body, we actually initiate a message. So this message has to go to the receiver end, and from receiver, any problem? So from receiver end we have to receive a response, and then this response goes to the sender, and then actually it's a cycle. The cycle is, it is, communication is always a two-way process. And okay, Aisha, is it okay that I'm conducting this session in English only?
Yes, ma'am, it's completely fine. Please go on.
Okay, fine. So basically, when you send a message to anyone, the receiver has to receive it. And whenever we send any message, it does not mean that you sent your message, your work is done. Whether receiver received it correctly or not received correctly, this is not your job. So a sender has to ensure that this message is being received by the receiver in a proper way, or receiver has received the correct message. For that, you have to make your communication effective. So from here, it comes effective communication. So actually, I have chosen these 5 points. You can make by focusing on these 5 things, you can make your I have chosen actually 5. I'm sorry, I'm telling you 5 ways to communicate. How exactly do we communicate? So there are several ways of communicating. So first of all, we all know it is verbal communication. In verbal communication, we speak our we use our tone, we use words, and so these are the various things which we use during verbal communication. So there is another one, like non-verbal communication. What is non-verbal communication? Non-verbal is something which is like you don't use your words to communicate, like you nod, है ना, कभी किसी ने कुछ पूछा तो हमने, instead of saying yes, we just nod our head. So this is kind of non-verbal communication. And there is a written communication. So written communication, nowadays it is like email. Through email we communicate, on social media we communicate. So these are the types of written communication. And then listening is a part of communication. So this is again a way to communicate. And there are visual communication. So what is visual communication? I'm sure you have seen some hoardings, some posters, So basically, these are used by the marketing people. So there are 5 ways to communicate: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, listening, and visual communication. Now, the point is, these are the ways to communicate, but how are we going to make our communication effective? So, to make your communication effective, I have prepared these 5 rules, which will actually help you in making your communication skills more effective. So, the first one is articulation. What is articulation? Articulation is whenever we speak, most of the time we don't think what are we going to speak? What are we speaking about? So before you speak, you need to gather thoughts. When you gather thoughts, you actually make your sentences more constructive. You you make you actually think. When you gather thoughts, when you articulate, you make your thoughts more effective, and you think what you are going to say. So when you think what you are going to say, you automatically, what you do, you say things to the point, and the things which are not going to hurt anyone, which is not unnecessary. The second very important point is listening. Listening makes your communication very effective. So what is listening? What I have seen over the time, people don't listen. When I say listening, I don't just say that you are not listening to anyone, you are not listening to other person. What I mean to say, listening is like, you don't listen to yourself first. So before others are listening to me, I have to listen to myself. And when I start listening to myself, I actually stop saying unnecessary things. I start making my communication more effective. So listening becomes very important. And the third point is body language. So you speak through your body, and you speak through your hands, your facial expression, through your eyes, through your, you speak through your entire body, whether it's a body posture, it's a gesture, your entire body speaks. So body language becomes a very important part of effective communication. So what we need to do, whenever you are speaking, you need to focus upon the way you are sitting, the way you are using your body language, the way you are using your verbal nods. So this body language becomes very important. And then it comes effective speech and expressions. So what is effective speech? How are you going to make your speech effective? Effective speech is, I'm sure you have heard many speakers speeches. So how, I'm giving you some tips, how exactly are you going to make your speech effective? So to make your speech effective, you have to go slow. People have this perception that people speaking very fast English, people speaking very fast Hindi are very good communicator. No, to speak effectively, your rate of speech has to be controlled. So when your rate of speech is controlled, you are actually, listener is listening to you. So first thing. Second thing, you are gathering thoughts. And when you gather thoughts, you have more content to speak about. And yes, expression is very important. So how are you going to express yourself? You express yourself through your body. Yes. You express yourself through your tone. And you express yourself through words. So in a word, I'm just giving you an example. There is a word like ADDRESS. This word address is like, um, this is actually an advanced part of effective communication, but I'm just giving you an example so that you can understand how these words, how the way you speak is going to affect your communication. So ADDRESS is address, and ADDRESS is address. So these are two different, it becomes two different words. So when you start expressing yourself, you start working upon these areas, and obviously, slowly and gradually, your communication starts being more effective. The fourth point is confidence and positive attitude. Now, the point is, why confidence is important in effective communication, and how are we going to be confident? How am I going to sound confident? So it's I'm telling you, it's not a matter of one day. Like we have a proverb, Rome was not built in a day. So effective communication is not a one day work. And in this 45 minutes, I'm going to give you tips. And from next day onwards, you will start being an effective communicator. This does not work in that way. It requires effort. It requires practice. So communication is all about practice. So how are you going to be confident during when you communicate? So you read, you start reading. Read at least for 10 minutes every day. Reading is like what do you say? It's a food. It's a food for effective communication. It's a nutritious food for effective communication. So when you read, and while reading, listen to yourself. So when you read and you listen to yourself, you are actually making a balance between your speaking power and listening power. So once you start listening to yourself, you will be able to communicate to others in a more effective way. So with this, and then you start improving your vocabulary, and there are so many things. It is not only reading, but the first step is reading. The second step is like you talk to yourself. You talk to yourself at least for half an hour every day. When you talk to yourself, you become more confident, because you are the best person whom you can talk to every day. You cannot find people around you every day, but at least you are there to talk to yourself. So this helps in building confidence. See, these are the tips which are not written there in all the books. I'm just giving you it because I have experienced it. You talk to yourself, you start gathering vocabulary. When you learn new words, you start using those words in your day-to-day sentences. I'm trust me, I'm not just talking about a language. I'm not talking about English. I'm talking about communication. It's not uh, it's not only about English that I cannot communicate in English. I have seen people, they cannot even express themselves. They cannot even communicate in Hindi. They cannot communicate in Urdu. But the language is just a medium. It is all about communication. It is all about uh, uh, passing your message to other people. It is all about communicating people. It is all about being confident and being more effective day by day. And the most important point is positive attitude. So what is this positive attitude? Positive attitude is, yes, I can. So all the time when you feel down, when you are not able to communicate, you just have to think, yes, you can. So keep this positive attitude in you, and obviously, slowly and gradually, you will start communicating in a more effective way. The fifth very important point is adaptability. Now, what is this adaptability? How adaptability plays an important role in effective communication. So, this is adaptability is very important because first we need to understand what is adaptability doing here. See, you speak with different people, you communicate with different people, you communicate in different ways. So first what we discussed about the 5 ways of communication. So there are verbal and non-verbal and written and listening. So there are different ways of communication, and there are different target audience. Let's say you are a student, you communicate with your friends, you communicate with your teachers. So you cannot communicate with your teachers like the way you communicate with your friends. Let's say you are a corporate person, you communicate with your seniors, you communicate with your juniors, you communicate with different departments. So your communication style cannot be same with each one of them. It has to be different. Let's say there is an IT person and there is an HR person. You cannot communicate with the HR person like you communicate with an IT person. So here adaptability comes. You need to adapt the different ways of communication. Let's say, and I'm just telling you through my experience, my communication started improving when I became a mother, because this little one is very demanding. She wants me to communicate with her in a different ways throughout the day. Sometimes she's kind of very sensitive child. So sometimes she comes to me with her toys, and these toys are speaking. They are speaking toys. Do you understand speaking toys? I have to be the tongue of those toys. So sometimes I have to talk to her teddies. Sometimes when she needs food, she wants me to understand what exactly she's looking for. And I have to find out. So throughout the day, I have to talk to her in a very different ways, in a several different ways. I cannot deal with her like, yes, I'm just asking you to do this, do this. Sometimes I have to be like that. So you need to adapt it. Adaptability it plays a very important role, crucial role, rather, I can say. If you don't adapt, just look at yourself. Just think of yourself for 1 minute and just think, do you talk to different people in different ways? Not all the time, but obviously, yes. Even at home, do you talk to your mother in a way you talk to your wife or friend or sister or brother or husband? No. So, in our professional life, how can we talk in a similar way? How can we talk? How can we deal with people in a similar way? People are different. So now the question is, how are we going to change our habit? How are we going to learn these things? So this is I must say, this is a slow process. It's communication is, and not only communication, hard skills are easy to learn. We always say hard skills are easy to learn. Either 2 years or 6 months or 4 months, 4 years, we learn hard skills. Let's say I have to become an engineer. I take admission in a college and I go, I just, I take my degree in 4 years. That's it. I'm an engineer. But I have seen people not learning these skills, not even in 10 years, not even in 20 years. And there are people, they are very good communicator. They are very effective communicator. They just learned it. So this is actually an art, and we need to learn it every day. You cannot just leave yourself, अच्छा आज तो ये टॉपिक हो गया खत्म, अभी एक महीने के बाद फिर पढ़ेंगे फिर लर्न करेंगे. So this is something which you need to practice every day. So to make your communication effective, more effective, you need to implement all these things in your life. So as if now there are 5 rules of effective communication from me: articulation, listening skills, body language, effective speech and expressions, confidence and positive attitude, adaptability. What would be the result of it? It would be great. Things communicated in effective ways give successful results. So this is not only about your professional life. It actually helps in your personal life as well. So here I say good luck to you. And I would like to switch on the webcam. Would I be able to, Aisha? Okay, so I have started receiving questions from the audience. Aisha.
Yes, ma'am. Now we will ahead take some question answers. Dear participants, please type your question and answers in the Q&A box, and you must stick to the topic and type the relevant questions only.
Okay. So I have received this question. I'm taking this question from Sajad Malik. It says, what are
Yes,
the
ma'am.
greatest challenges to good communication? I must say practice. Practice and our own attitude. See, communication is not something which you can learn in a day. If we think that one fine morning I will wake up and ask, I will become a very good communicator. It does not happen in a way. Communication is all about practice. So you need to practice it throughout the day. See, communication is not just a small topic. See, that's why I always say communication is not just something which can be covered in 1 hour or 1.5 hours. It is first, I need to give you uh, the content. The content is, when I say content, it means I need to understand where do you understand right now, how am I going to work upon you, what are the skills you require, what are the skills you already have. So it does not mean, when I say what are the skills you require, it does not mean you don't have any skills. There are people, they have not even uh, they have not even seen schools, they are very good communicator. So it means these skills are already there, they have already developed those skills. So the challenge is we don't practice. There are several aspects where we need to work upon. If I really want to improve my communication, you need to read, you need to learn vocabulary, you need to listen to people, you need to speak with people. See, sometimes there are people, they are very introvert, they don't like interacting with people. So you need to come out of these hurdles. You And it does not happen in a day, it takes time. So slowly and gradually, when you start practicing it, and when you actually dedicate yourself to do this, dedication is very important. You dedicate yourself to do it. um, there is a very uh, I would say uh, the psychologist says, they say that whatever a child learned during 7 years, the first 7 years, they become like that. So as a mother or as a parent, I suggest people, uh, you try to give space to your kids. But it does not mean that whatever you became during your first 7 years, you remain same through your entire life. It's not in that way. If you really want to improve yourself, if you really want to dedicate your time to yourself, you would inshallah definitely see lots of changes in you. So, two things I would say: challenges of communication. Challenges of communication is not willing, not, I'm sorry, not willing to do something. Not willing to do something is like you are not dedicating yourself to improve your communication. And the other thing is we don't practice. Practice is one of the greatest hurdle. We don't practice, and we get stuck. The second question is, what role do facial expression, gestures, and pauses play in communication? So these are very important. Your facial expression is important because you express yourself through your eyes, through your movements. Uh, so this facial expression becomes very important. You cannot just go, uh, you can have, you cannot just go like, you don't express yourself, you sit idle and just speak. Words are important. It's not that words are not important, but your expressions are more important than your words. Your tone is more important than your word. Let's say I'm giving you an example. When I call my daughter and I say I love you, and I'm not expressing myself, even this child understands that she does not love me. You cannot be angry in an angry tone. You cannot say I love you. So to express love, you have to set that tone. So this expressions are very important. Talking about gesture and pauses, yes, pauses are important, because when you pause, I don't suggest to pause very frequently, but yes, you should pause while speaking, because it gives listener, uh, they get, they actually listen to you in a better way when you pause, because it gives them time to understand you. And for you it is important, because when you pause you actually collect thoughts. The next question is, I am not understand non-visual communication. Okay, it is not non-visual communication, it is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal is where you are not using your words, your tones, but you are using your body language, your hands movement, your verbal nods. So these are kind of non-verbal communication. Farheen Chaudhary, whenever I try to express my opinions or ideas, I always feel out of words. It's like I'm unable to communicate my ideas or what I want to say, exactly what I want to say. All right. So that's what I'm telling you. See, communication is not something which you can improve upon in a day. You need to work upon your vocabulary as well. You need to practice. You need to talk to yourself. You need to talk to others. You need to find out people at your home, at your work, whom you can talk to. So, until and unless you don't express yourself, you don't listen to people and listen to the speakers as well. See, we are living in an age where we have millions of content available on YouTube and other platforms. You need to find out the good content for you. So you need to listen to the native speaker if you want to learn, if you want to communicate in English, whoever, whatever the language you want to choose, you need listen to the native speaker. And vocabulary building is something which has to be a day-to-day work. You have at least two vocabularies per day, at least one vocabulary per day. Start finding out the words, some professional words, some words which are the synonyms. And we can all it's see, we cannot always use those commonly used words. So to make your communication more effective, start working upon your vocabulary, start practicing, start reading. Read a lot. Reading plays a very important role in making improving your communication. Okay, and about you also have asked about expressing yourself. So expressing yourself, see, again, it's a matter of practice. Sometimes we hesitate to express. So this one step is very important. Yes, I can. Next question is, how can a leader influence its follower by its communication? So we have seen many leaders. We have many examples where leaders are very good influencer because they know where I have to strike. They know where I have to hit. They know your nerves. So good communicator, effective communicators, they know which nerves has to be hit. So we need, and for that you have to practice. Sit, stand in front of a mirror and start speaking there. Talk to yourself. Talking to yourself is very important. The next question is, what is difference between confidence and positive attitude? Okay, confidence is something, I have content. It means I have vocabulary. I have good vocabulary. I know what I'm going to talk about. But still, I don't know whether I can or I cannot. So confidence is, you have confidence because you have everything. You have positive attitude because you know you can. So this I can wali feeling is now positive attitude. Yes, I can. I can do it anyway. And I can do it in front of everyone. There are people, they are very good speakers in front of their friends, but they cannot speak in front of their teachers. Why? Because they don't have that positive attitude. So combination of confidence and positive attitude is going to make you more effective. Next question is, I
think
cannot.
so. Yes, ma'am. I think so. These question is repeated several times, so you can answer because they are asking that how to communicate in English as early as
Right.
possible or one in one day. So you can tell to them that it is not a not specific to language itself, and also uh, as soon as possible in one day, 2 day, we can't do such things. No.
Yes, you need to practice. You need to see. I'm giving you 3, 4 tips. Start working upon it, and uh, just check yourself after a month. Give 10 minutes to reading. Give half an hour to speaking. Speak to yourself. If you don't find any person out there, just speak to yourself, and at least 2 to 3 vocabulary in a day. Every day, try to learn at least one new word. And trust me, after a month, assess yourself. You will be a far better. You will be a far better and effective communicator. You'll become. And slowly and gradually, when you start implementing all these skills in your day-to-day life, uh, you start coming out of your shell, you will obviously become an effective communicator. ये कोई वो नहीं है, जादू की छड़ी नहीं है, ऐसे जादू घुमाया और फिर हम effective communicator बन गए. It's your hard work, it's practice.
Most other questions are similar to this. One more question, 2, 3 students have asked. So, ma'am, I am putting the questions by combining 3 or 4 so that you can answer them live.
Sure.
Many of them have asked that they are not able to do public speaking or they are not able to speak in front of mob and they are getting nervous. You can answer these all together once.
Okay. All right. So if you want to be a public speaker, I would suggest you choose a topic for yourself every day. Let's say I'm talking about small topics. Let's say your city. मतलब ये बहुत लगेगा कि ये बच्चों वाली चीजें हैं, but do those things. Do these we say kiddish things. So choose a topic and write my city, Mumbai. So I live in Mumbai. Mumbai is a big city. Start constructing small sentences and stand in front of mirror and first read it. If you cannot just you cannot see it without saying it, so just read it. Reading is very important. And after that, start making a video of yourself, a small video, a small video on small topics. Slowly and gradually, it will gives you confidence. It will make you an effective communicator. It will give you a confidence to speak in front of people. If you find people around you at home or in the colleges or in school or anywhere you are, just start being with people. The problem is हम लोगों से बात नहीं करते, हम खुद में रहना ज्यादा पसंद करते हैं और हम सोचते हैं कि हम बहुत अच्छे कम्युनिकेटर बन जाएंगे. So this is the main problem. Start, see whom you are going to communicate. How are you going to communicate? You communicate with someone. You cannot communicate with the books all the time. You cannot communicate with mobile all the time, है ना. हम तो अभी यही हो गया है ना, हम मोबाइल से communicate करते हैं. Start talking to people. If you really want to be a good public speaker, start finding people around you. Start making mistakes. The problem is we are afraid of making mistakes. Start making mistakes. The moment you are not afraid of making mistakes, you will start doing amazing things in your life. But the problem is we hesitate. मजाक उड़ा देगा कोई, है ना. ये इस मजाक उड़ाने से हम बहुत डरते हैं. So don't get into these things. People who are afraid of people who are afraid of speaking, they are actually, it will become very difficult for you to rise. It will become very difficult for you to get success in life. So लोग क्या कहेंगे ये तो छोड़ दो. Once this is not there in your mind, trust me, you are going to be because we do lots of things जिसमें हमें सोचना चाहिए लोग क्या कहेंगे.
Yes, of course, ma'am. Very well.
This.
And one last question, which I am taking. Rest other questions were interlinked, so I have put them all together. And the last question is it important to make eye contact while communicating? Please answer it shortly, ma'am.
See, it's a very cultural thing. It is actually important. If you make eye to eye contact with a person, it is important. If you go in corporate scenario, people actually, they find it it is advisable. I advise when you speak with someone, you make eye to eye contact with a person. But there are some people, they are very shy. They don't look into your eyes. They don't prefer it. So it is again a very, I would say, cultural things. Don't force people to look into your eyes, but you actually try to look into the eyes of people, because two things happen. You look confident, and the second thing is you actually gain attention. So this is advisable, yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, as I feel that it looks like we have covered all the questions as of now, and it was a great session. And thank you so much, ma'am. And is there anything else you would like to add, Nagma, madam?
See, what I would, I was just actually going through all the questions, and there are many people, they want to ask so many questions regarding this communication skills. So
totally agree, ma'am. But since we are in short of time, so I'm winding up the session. That is why I'm going ahead. But since you have read all the questions, and maybe you can answer all of them combinedly.
Yes. So I would just say, trust yourself, trust your abilities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, जब एक बच्चा पैदा होता है ना, तो उसमें एक प्रॉफिट बनने के अलावा सारी खूबियां होती हैं, सारे स्किल्स होते हैं, उसको सिर्फ नर्चर करने की जरूरत होती है. So I'm telling you, even if you want to become Sahaba, you can become. A child can. So ऐसा नहीं है कि those skills are lost. I have seen many people, they have been struggling for last 10 years, for last 15 years, and they still have not reached where they wanted to be, and they are depressed, they are under pressure, they don't want to, they don't like this life. First of all, what I would suggest, if you really want to be a good communicator, an effective communicator, or whatever you want to be, if you want to be successful, start loving yourself. जो भी अल्लाह ने दिया है, सबसे पहले उसका शुक्र अदा करना शुरू कर दें आप लोग, क्योंकि if you look around, you have n number of blessings around you. It is only that we are not looking at those blessings and we are not utilizing those blessings in an effective way. What is mobile phone? Mobile phone is a blessing for us. We always talk about the cons. We hardly talk about the pros. Though we use mobile phone every day, मतलब हर time mobile phone एक तो आदत हो गई ना हमारी मुट्ठी बंद करने की. So, but still we don't talk about the pros of mobile phone. So look at the positive side of it. There are so many things we can use through, we can do through smartphones. Why don't we use it? उसका जो पॉजिटिव वाला चीज है उसको हम क्यों नहीं यूज करते? So just look around and see the blessings around you and start utilizing, start actually organizing your life. If you really want to be an effective communicator, please organize your life. Organize everything. छोटी छोटी चीजें organize करना शुरू करें. You organize your table, you organize your cupboard, you organize your bed, you organize your shoe rack. And slowly and gradually, you will find that one day you will start organizing your mind. Once this mind is organized, everything will be placed in a proper way. So this is my message for you. Don't just get distressed. ये नहीं है, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't know English. See, I'm just telling you, I have seen people around me, they have never gone to convent school and they speak very good English. They don't find it difficult. So सिर्फ ये सोच लेना कि अच्छा मैंने तो इंग्लिश मीडियम से पढ़ाई नहीं की है, so I cannot speak English is not good enough. Just think you can, and inshallah you can. Youngsters, you are the powerhouse. You have energy. You can just look at the blessings around.
Indeed, ma'am. Very well said. I sincerely appreciate your words and you have taken so much of your precious time for us, and you have presented a very wonderful session for our attendees and audience. Alhamdulillah. And also, I would like to thank everyone, all the attendees who were present here and were patient with us till the end. Jazakallah khair to everyone. Last, I will conclude this session with a dua. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayka. O Allah, you are pure. I praise you and testify that there is none worthy of worship besides you. I seek forgiveness and pardon from you. If there was a good talk in the gathering, I pray you accept it. And if there was a futile and vain talk, then please forgive us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nagma ma'am, once again. Jazakallah khair. I'm winding up the session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.